In our last demonstration, we did the first base coat for our ocarina, so kind of like the main color of your animal. On this section, I'm going to take a second color and kind of paint in my feathers or whatever might be your detail that you've got. So whether it's feather or furs or however you're going to do it. I'm just going to take this detail brush and I'm going to start painting in some of my feathers. Turquoise, to show that, I'm just going to paint kind of the bottom of, not the bottom, like I guess you would call it the tip of the feather or like the end of the feather. I'm just going to kind of paint them turquoise so you can kind of see the curve of the feather, and then you'll get a sense that it's got turquoise tipped feathers that are then yellow as they go closer towards the base. And if you need to use a detail brush, there should be some detail brushes in the brush container, or I can get some if need be. Or you can just use a regular one. Some of it might have to be kind of blobbed on and then moved around with the tip of the brush or with a Q-tip. So you can just kind of see how I'm doing this nice and calm, slow and steady. And at this point, Mr. Lundgren, you can fast forward until we get to the next part. Okay, so there you can kind of get the idea and see the kind of full effect of that kind of speckled blue on top of my yellow background. Alright, and at this point, I'm going to wash my brush out really well in the water. Okay, and I'm going to wash my brush tip so it's nice and clean. We don't have any dirt on there. I'm going to get some orange. Okay, and paint my little beak on here. And the orange looks really similar to the clay color, so it's kind of hard to see. So Mr. Lundgren, you can fast forward, show that part. Okay, go back, wash my brush out really well. Gonna get some white. For, of course, the eyes. Wash my brush out. I'm going to get some blue. Okay. Kind of scrape through, kind of keep that texture there. So you can kind of see that scraped texture. Okay, I'm going to just darken some of these in. Kind of create a little interest here and there. Okay, just got a couple of those different. I'm going to go back, wash my brush out one more time. And use some black. And this one, I'm going to just try to keep it really fine and do some of my painted details. Do the eyes. Around the eye. The mouth. Okay, so there's pretty good. Version of my bird. Okay, at this point, if you want to, you can use a toothpick and try to scratch some of the textures back in if you want to. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it might not work. Are also best to do with a metal tool, and maybe you can use a paper clip, one of the old paper clips, and you can take that and you can scratch through the surface of your clay like this if you want to bring back any of the other colors. So that's one skill that you can do as well. Okay, so you should have your ocarina done. When you're done, make sure that you take any of the colors that you used and you screw the lid back on tightly so that there's no seam, or there's no gap in between the seam, so that the paint doesn't fall out. Make sure you take your brushes and you wash them really, 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 really well so that there's no dirt or nasty junk on them anymore. Okay, and make sure that you totally clean up your area. This dust here also can give me cancer over a long time. It's just like the clay dust. So please screw your caps on tightly, wipe your tables off, clean everything off. And this is an example of what your finished product should look like.